So today I want to explain a really useful tool that can be really helpful to help you process your feelings and be able to get some help from Jesus to turn your pain into peace. So this is a concept that I learned from my friend Paula, and she is a life coach, and her company is called Life Roads Coaching. But there are some great tools like this that can be really helpful. So let's talk about it. So first of all, you're going to identify your pain cycle. When something happens that triggers like negative emotions, if you're feeling overwhelmed by negative emotions, this is a good time for you to get with Jesus and do some journaling in this way. Okay, so first of all, you're going to identify your feelings and also your triggers. So you're going to look at what you're feeling right now, and then sometimes you're going to look back into your past and say, when did I first feel like this? Because that first memory where you felt like this is going to be really helpful for you to process all of this and come into what Jesus wants for you. So you're just going to write down whatever you're feeling, okay, here. Write down your feelings, write down what's triggering you. Then once you've processed all of that, then you're going to come over here and you're going to write down your behavior. How do those feelings make you act? And your coping mechanisms. So how is it that you've learned to deal with this? Okay, I don't have enough room. So then here you're going to write down, like, when you feel this, then what do you do? What are you doing? And then you're going to come around here and you're going to say, how does my behavior and my coping mechanisms affect other people around me? How does this affect others? So you're going to write down how this affects them. And then how this affects them and what happens here then feeds back into the original feelings, because this is a pain cycle. And people tend to bounce off each other's pain and just perpetuate this kind of a vicious circle. Okay, so once you have identified all of this, the next step is to ask the Holy Spirit, what did I need to know? What did I need to know in that memory, in that situation that happened? What did I need to know? Okay, then the Holy Spirit will tell you something, and it's going to be amazing how this changes everything, whatever it is that he says to you. Okay, so now you're going to go into your peace cycle. So the way you do that is, here's your peace cycle. Okay, so if I had known this, what the Holy Spirit just said to me, how would I have felt? Okay, what would my feelings have been if I had known this? Okay, and then from there, wow, what's happening to my pen? If I had known this, and if I had felt this, how would I have acted? What would I have done based on these feelings and this knowledge? Okay, and finally, if I would have acted this way, if this is what I was doing, how would that affect other people around me? How would that affect others, this behavior? And when it affects others like this, then it will feed back into these positive feelings that you have when you know what you need to know, right? Okay, now I'm going to give you a real life example so you can understand this more, because a lot of things don't make sense until you see it actually being used, until you use it yourself sometimes too. But sometimes it helps to see it be used first. All right. So this is what I did with a situation that was in my life. I was talking to my friend about my conflicted feelings about my Lao friends and just the stress that I felt and the negative feelings I was feeling. And she suggested that I use my pain peace cycle that she taught me to deal with my grief and my conflicted feelings about my new Lao friends that are on my Instagram. And so I realized that the memory that's affecting this is the fact that all of my social time from the time I was 7 to the time I was 12, I guess you can look at my face while I tell you this. All of my social time from the time I was 7 to the time I was 12 was with Southeast Asians. And because I lived in such a racist community that even I was an outcast socially among my peers, I didn't feel accepted. It was a Dutch community. They were, even though I was white, I wasn't Dutch. And my parents weren't rich. And so I was just, that just put me in a low status socially. So I didn't feel accepted with the white people at all. I felt very rejected, and despised and looked down on. And so, but when I was around the Southeast Asian people, I felt accepted. I felt belonging. I felt like this is my family. These are my real friends. But what happened was that when I was 12, we moved away from that community to a completely different community. And there were no Southeast Asians in the new area that I moved to. And I felt like half of my world just cracked off and fell into the ocean. And it was like I was just reaching after it, like, oh, if only, I could go back. And so that's what I'm processing here. So I'm going to show you. Okay. Feelings and triggers. So I felt grief, sadness. I felt lonely. It was out of my control. That was not my choice, and I had no control over it. I felt a loss of belonging and a loss of acceptance. I felt a loss of comfort and a loss of the ability and freedom to be myself. I didn't have any outlet for like the Southeast Asian parts of me that had developed by that impact that this being immersed into their culture and their language had on me. So there was like a part of me it had no place to express itself. Loss of identity. I felt uprooted. I felt a loss of stability in home, loss of loved ones. I didn't want to accept my reality. I wanted to go back to the way it was. And so there was all this striving and stress where I just wanted to make something happen that wasn't happening. And it was completely out of my control. So all of these feelings then led to these behaviors and coping mechanisms. So I would try to be Lao, and I would try to learn Lao, and I would try to make things happen. Like later on, I tried to go to Laos, I tried to go to Thailand, and like nothing ever worked. I fought where I was. I clung to anything Southeast Asian. I looked for and was attracted to Southeast Asians. I pushed Americans away. I felt like they wouldn't understand me. I stressed out about Lao people liking me. So, and of course, when I was a child, there just weren't any Southeast Asians. So, but this is like the behaviors that developed as I came back into areas where there were Lao people. So how this affected others. Some Lao people ran away because it scared them because I would try to get too close too fast. Some became my friends. Like if I went to their business and, some of them owned restaurants, so I would go there, I would buy food, I would eat. Or some were like hair salon, so I would go and have her do my eyebrows, I would have her do my hair. So those ones became my friends because I got to know them, and they knew that I cared about them and everything. People don't understand me. yeah, that was true. People didn't understand me. A lot of people didn't understand me. Some took advantage of me getting too close too fast, because that is a dangerous thing to do. It's just not healthy. You don't know who people are. They don't know who you are. And a lot of people that try to get too close too fast are people that have some ulterior motive and are trying to damage you in some way or take something from you. So it is understandable why they would run away, if because some are scared away by my too close too fast approach. And some of them were people, the reason why they were open to me getting too close too fast is because they had ulterior motives and they wanted to do bad things to me or whatever. So I did get burned in those situations. So that was not healthy for me. And it was understandable why other people would run away, because it's not healthy. It's not a healthy way to do friendship. You need to get to know people before you decide who they're going to be in your life. So then, of course, this led back into exacerbating these feelings, because so many of them were just scared off. And yeah. So what did I need to know? So I asked the Holy Spirit, what did I need to know in this situation where I lost so much? And this is what he said. I needed to know that Abba, God the Father, has a good plan for me, and that he is the one ordering my steps. He is the one orchestrating all these things that are happening, and he is weaving good things into my life. It's not that he's trying to take good things away from me. He is making room for new things and for good things. And so if I hadn't moved to that new area, I would never have learned Spanish. I would never have had friends that were Native Americans and friends that were Africans. And so he wasn't trying to take that whole Southeast Asian thing away from me. He was trying to make room for me to bring in more cultures and more languages into my life, because of, the call that he had on my life. And so if I had known this, then my feelings would have been peace and hope and excitement. My behavior would have been, I would have looked forward instead of back. I would have been alert to see what God is doing now and what he's doing next. I would have enjoyed what is instead of trying to make something else happen. I would have let it go. I would have rested and trusted and enjoyed it, and just enjoyed being with him in the new experiences. And how would this have affected others? Well, I wouldn't have had this too close, too fast approach. People would be more comfortable with me, and I could have built healthier friendships with healthier, safer people, because I would have had a more healthy approach to friendship and to deciding who gets to be in my life in certain ways, instead of just judging people by their outward appearance, by the color of their skin or their ethnicity. Instead of I had this reverse racism going on, where it was like, well, if they're Asian, then they must be a really good person that I should be friends with. And that's not always true, because people are people in every ethnicity, in every race, in every color. People are just people. There's good ones and bad ones. There's healthy ones and ones that want to do you wrong, And so you can't ever judge people by their appearance or by the things that you see on the surface when you first meet them. You have to get to know people to know who they are and what they're about, and whether you should trust them or not, and how close they should be in your life, So if I had known this and felt this and done this, and this would have happened, then it would feed into more peace and hope and excitement, as God just brought me into what he had for me. So this really did change my whole outlook, and it just really helped me a lot. So I highly recommend doing this pain peace cycle. So I hope you guys try it, and yeah, feel free to share with me if something good happens. So all right, and any questions you have, let me know. You can leave comments, or you can just ask me if you see me. So yeah, I hope this helps. Love you guys. Have a great day.